Hello again, Erin Whitney here. And today you guys are going to be discussing classroom procedures, which is literally one of my favorite things because I'm all about some structure now. And if you don't have structure in your classroom, I mean, guess learning goodbye. Okay, so classroom procedures is extremely important, and the Harry Wong book that you're going to get today is just one of the best tools that I have. I pull it out all the time. It was the most helpful thing ever. And when you're setting up classroom procedures, obviously you have to tailor it to your room and what works for you. But I followed a lot of what Harry Wong suggested, and if I needed to modify it down the way, then I just did that. So I would say to get you set up for your first year, follow his instructions and ideas, and you'll figure out what works for you as time goes on. So classroom procedures. So the first week of school, even after the first week of school, after a long weekend, if they're not getting things, getting it together, or after Christmas break, definitely after Christmas break, you teach classroom procedures. So I made a Prezi that I've used the past 2 years, and I just literally lay out every single procedure ever. You don't want to assume that your students know how to do anything. You want to teach it to them from scratch because this is a new classroom, new year, and they want to know how their classroom works. And so literally have a slide for how we line up, how we do this. Then we practice it. Have a slide on how we walk down the hallways. We practice lining up, and then we go on a walk, and we walk the hallways. And when you start thinking about it, it's pretty detailed what you expect them to do. My class, we're expected to have quiet finger here, hand to the behind her back or to the side, and feet in a square. I mean, it's detailed, and they will need to know these things. Also, classroom, signals. I stole this from Harry Wong too. If a child needs to use the restroom in my class, if it's an emergency, this is what they give me. Because the last thing you want is a raised hand and you're teaching this awesome lesson and you're yes, Johnny, what do you think? And Johnny's I gotta go to the bathroom. So that has stopped a lot of just unnecessary talking, verbal communication just with signals. So just go to the bathroom. If they have a dull pencil and they need a new one, they hold it above their head. Okay? If they need a tissue, then they do this. Like that. Our classroom signals are everything to me because it ensures that during our lesson it's uninterrupted for those little things. And again, then you're able to tell them go ahead and go now with a shake of the head or, wait 5 minutes. It's a lot easier to do those things. Big thing, pencils. I wasted hours of my life. I don't even want to know how many hours throughout the whole school year last year sharpening pencils. So something that helps my classroom run smoothly is having classroom jobs, and I have 2 responsible students that are the pencil police. They're in charge of sharpening all pencils. I have not sharpened a pencil this year unless I have desired to do so because my pencil police are constantly on it. So what I do, Harry Wong suggests 2 buckets, and I wanted to be in my classroom to show you this, but the Wi-Fi was not strong enough to make a video. 2 buckets of dull, sharp, make a pencil trade. They trade in the dull pencil, get a sharp pencil. They're community pencils. We share all pencils, and so if you have a special one that you don't want to trade, well then sharpen it at home because it's going to be someone else's. So that has just worked immensely. You don't even want to know the lead that a student can go through. It can ruin your life, but this year it has not. Also, classroomfriendlysupplies.com. Not paid to tell you this, but you need to get a sharpener from there. It's a crank one, and I spent so much money on electric ones that got pencils stuck and that I didn't want students to use. And this one has never ever sharpened a pencil incorrectly. I mean, it's the best sharpener in the world. I will buy one over and over and over again. So classroomfriendlysupplies.com. They come in cool colors. You need 1 or 2. So back to procedures. Having classroom jobs has been pretty vital in my room. Every single student of mine has a job. Jobs can be a little bit more responsibility. I have 2 mailmen They sort all my papers for classes and they staple all my papers. My Pens Police, that's a pretty big job. I have the cleanup crew. They sweep and wipe off desks at the end of the day, or if there's ever a spill, they just like come to it. I have a water boy, okay, which refills my water if I need that. He like loves this job. I have a door holder. I mean, you might have to get creative to give everyone a job, but when students have a job like lights, light person, it makes them feel important because it's part of their room. It's part of your community. And I found that it's more effective to let students keep their jobs for weeks, maybe 9 weeks, or mine have kept the same job all year, just because you want them to get good at their job and you want it to be productive for you in the classroom. And if you change jobs weekly, like I did my first year, it became a chore changing the jobs, and the students don't remember what job they have, so it's not really helpful. But I've found that they take pride in their job when they do it well and they get to do it over and over again. The beginning of the year, they get to apply for a job and write why they want to be holding that position. So that's kind of fun for them. If you do not have procedures in your room, expect chaos. I mean, that's just truly it. And it really is dependent on those first few weeks of when you come in your room and you're teaching your students. If you're going to expect your students to follow the classroom procedures and to be organized, then you have to be the example. And you have to show them what that looks like and pull your weight too. So it took a lot of thinking through procedures, meant that I had to think through them and I had to be able to demonstrate them and follow those procedures over and over again. That way there was continuity between the two. Or something else I was going to say. Oh, classroom management. Also, I found mega effective to do incentives. I feel like these days people are more incentive driven versus discipline driven. Depends on your school, but mine's kind of that way. Obviously there are disciplinary issues that come up, but typically some incentives will work for students, and those incentives can really offset the discipline that you might have to encounter. So as a school, we use a system, EGSNU. E is excellent, G is good, S satisfactory, N not satisfactory, and U unsatisfactory. So I've chosen, which I'm one of the only people, but it works for me, to put my students on G, which is good, and they can earn E, which is excellent. And so they take a lot of pride in earning E. That comes from using an accountable talk stem, I would like to build on what Ben said. Or if they're just doing a great job following directions, I can move them up. That motivates them to be able to earn an excellent versus starting on excellent and going to good. So they have rewards at the end of the week on Fridays if they have 4 E's or G's out of the 5. So that gives them that, it gives some of those kids that need it that one day to blow it, but have a really good 4 days. And if they earn 4 E's or G's, then they earn a star. And this is a reward system that I wish I had done my first year, and I just hadn't thought through it until this year. So they get a star, so that means they earn candy at the end on a Friday. Then if they earn 3 stars, they get into the special bucket, which I have cool things in there, tattoos, cool pencils, squishy eyeballs, stuff like that. 3 stars gets in that. 4 stars candy, 5 stars candy, 6 stars is a classroom coupon, which I found for free on Teachers Pay Teachers. There are things like eat lunch with the teacher, eat at my desk, or sit at my desk, bring a stuffed animal to school. There's one called Stinky Feet, where they get to take their shoes off in my classroom. So many kids want that. It cracks me up. But they get to choose a coupon. And then 7 and 8 is candy. And then the 9th one, they get a Beanie Baby. Because so many Beanie Babies from my childhood that did not put me through college or amount to anything. So they are here to help my classroom procedures and management. So a reward system has been really effective. Also, as a class, we have brownie points, which I, again, stole from someone else, because you want to work smarter, not harder. No need to reinvent the wheel here. So I found a picture of a brownie on Google, copy and pasted it, and laminated it. And yeah, I have little cookie sheets, and so when they earn a dozen brownies, so that's been a good thing too, to teach them that that's 12. Half a dozen, 6, a little lesson here. And they earn 12, they get a brownie party, which is pretty exciting. So I have 2 classes because we switch for reading, language arts, and math and science. And so it's kind of like a little competition of who can get the most brownies. So they earn those as a class. So as a class, if they do fantastic one day, or as a class, if everyone brings their homework, or they get a compliment in the hallway from another teacher on their line, or I get a great compliment from an art teacher, or what have you, they can earn a brownie. Now, they can also be taken away. As in today, I took away 2 brownies. We were having issues. But did it help me? Absolutely. I took away that brownie, and it was like, silence. So that's really worked to our advantage. My biggest thing, have procedures. Follow them. If your students are older, send home a contract. You might think that older students are above learning procedures, but they need them too. They need to know what they can do and what they can't do, or what's appropriate. They need to understand different ways. I also put on my thing, like, how do you talk to the teacher? Like, where do you come? When is it appropriate to talk to me? What are words you can use? Like, we want to be respectful, so how do you address me? How do I address you? What's my promise to you to treat you with respect? And how am I going to show you that I respect you? All that is mega important, and set that up from the beginning. It took me like 2 or 3 days of sitting on my couch and thinking through everything. And it took them day after day reviewing it and practicing it and reviewing it and practicing it. I mean, truly, if you don't have a way to run your classroom, you're not going to get to the lesson ever. If you're going to keep saying, Johnny, or getting on to a student, you don't want to spend your days doing that. Your blood pressure gets all high and you get all stressed and upset, and then, like, honestly, I mean, classroom procedures are so important. I had, first year teacher last year, seriously, I just got stressed because of this pencil thing. I was back there sharpening pencils and, sweating because it was taking forever, and I literally was like, students were having a little fun over there, and I was like, raise your hand if you have a college degree. Anyone? And I look back, I'm like, why was that? I just went off on 7-year-olds. I mean, it's not cool, but we've been there. And classroom procedures will help avoid those said conversations. So, I'm going to try and send some pictures over of some different sections in my room and some different ideas I have that I've been putting in place to hopefully give you a better visual, because it's always better just to see it in action. Oh yeah, another thing, procedure, stations, how you do stations. And another tip on that is if your students can't handle moving physically around the room, put your stations in buckets, and the buckets move, not the kids. Yeah. You just have to see. But anyway, hope this was helpful. Enjoy your day thinking through procedures. Okay, bye.